Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna go. Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. You never know which way to rap. The record's gonna Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Konversations with JT and Lo.
Starting over? No?
Uh-oh, somebody's.
Okay. Ayo. we are truly live. We tell you all the time, this is a live show. So, you know, sometimes things happen. But we'll start from the top. Classic Konversations with JT and Lo.
And Giselle.
I was going to wonder if you were going to chime in and you take the opportunity.
I didn't know if you was going to, shout, ask a cop out
Classic
again.
Konversations with JT and Lo, man, every Tuesday night, 8:30-ish. As you can see, I got a brand new cast. We're starting Classic Konversations all over again, man, and look what we brought. Now the show is going to be lit.
Yeah, it's going to be classy conversations from now on.
Oh, man. Anyway, just jiving. You don't get upset, everybody.
Right.
Who are JT and Ask a Cop fans. My man JT is on movie set today. He may or may not make it down by the time the show ends. But shout out to JT. Continue to live his dream. Ask a Cop. We won't even tell you the excuse he gave. But he claims he's on the way. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, we'll say that excuse. I don't even think I want to share it. But in the building tonight, man, well, first of all, make sure you tell a friend, you tag a friend, you like, share, and subscribe. Everybody on there see the little icon button, the emoji cons, you know, family with the Transformers. Make sure you hit those buttons, do the hearts, the likes, all the loves, all the good stuff, man. That stuff always helps our
algorithm.
There you go. There you go. Look at Jose. So as you can see to my right, we got the lovely Jose in the building.
Hey.
No longer a stranger. She's a regular to the show, man. So how you doing, Mr. Jose?
I'm doing great. Life is good. You know, trying to get some bills paid.
Okay.
Hint.
All right. And to my left, our special guest of the night. Her resume has been posted all week, man. The resume is very, very impressive.
Thank you.
Ms. Tangi Daniel, military veteran. Was it Marines?
Marine Corps.
Whew. You and Ask a Cop might get along. He's a jarhead. Marine Corps. You know, I'm an Army guy, so, you know, we're going to always...
I mean, we'll accept you. It's fine.
She said we'll accept you. I love it. So, Miss Tangi Daniel, Gonna talk about her quite a bit on the second part of the show, man. We're looking forward to this conversation with you and all the things that you're doing for the community. And we say the community as a whole, but for the black community.
Specifically.
I love it, and I love how she chimed in. But listen, we got a lot to talk about prior to that. A topic that's hot out the press. It's been probably the most talked about conversation over the last 48, 72 hours. I don't know. You know, I'm a sports junkie. I don't know. You're into this sports world.
I am.
So I don't know. Are you a football?
I'm international football, but I'm depending on where you're going with it.
All right. Well, I'm going somewhere with it.
I believe it.
And I want to just be able to, I don't want to be able to, I know you have to live this, political life as well. But
No, let's talk about it.
Tell me your thoughts on the Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders, the NFL draft. As people know, Shedeur Sanders, who was known as a top 5, no less than top 5 draft pick prospect. And his father said something about, he was going to control the narrative of where his son went in the draft if it didn't appease to him. And all of a sudden, Shedeur Sanders dropped from a first-round top 5 pick to a 5th-round pick, and they even picked another quarterback before him. And so there's a lot of questions about it. The questions in terms of, you have some people saying, well, maybe he just wasn't talented enough, which I think is insane. Then you have some people who are just saying, it was the Deion effect. It was Shedeur's arrogance. Tell me your thoughts on this particular situation with Deion Sanders, Shedeur Sanders, and the major drop.
Oh, well, thank you, first of all, for having me. This is amazing. And, yeah, because I'm global sports, I keep up with these things now. And just full transparency, at one point in my life, I didn't even care at all about this. But now it is something that takes up my everyday life. And this particular case was very interesting to me because I don't watch American football, but because I'm in the international football space, soccer is what Americans call it. I had to keep up with the draft and what's going on now. And the fact that he is so talented, and the fact that he was originally projected to be the first-round pick, and he went all the way down to the 5th round, 144?
144.
That's a message to me. That is a clear indication that we wanted to prove a point to you. Like, you are not bigger than our organization. You are not bigger than anyone else in this league, and we have to humble you. We have to bring you down. And I feel like now it's up to him to prove, and not even prove, he's already great and talented, but I feel like he needs to, position himself in a way where he shows them he doesn't need them either. He plays, he does what he needs to do, and then he, moves on with his life, because this was a clear message to me.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm going to let you go after this, Giselle, but so what message do you think they're trying to send, though?
Well, I believe it's very similar to the military.
Okay.
The military being there is, it is about all. It is not about an individual person. So if anyone gets more shine than anyone else, it's like, who do you think you are? You cannot be this person that you think you are. And he literally is him because his father is him, And so he's raised in an environment where he is taught that he is great, and therefore his whole family is. And so for them to treat him in such a fashion, it was a clear sign that, they don't care about him as much as I would think he wants them to, or the time and dedication that he's put into this league, this game. He's given his life to it. For them to spit basically in his face in such a manner was very specific and deliberate. And again, it's no different than the military to me. There's no individual in the military. We couldn't have locks in the military. You have to look like everyone else. You have to be like everyone else. And so that was the message I think they sent to him, or tried to anyway.
Okay. Giselle, what's your thoughts?
I had a couple of thoughts about it. First off, we know that there's more money involved depending on what round you get picked in. However, that does not put a cap on what you can make during your career, right? What round you get picked in does not put a cap on you. Just like you have Tom Brady was picked in the 6th round, right? And he's considered the NFL's greatest quarterback. The second thing is fathers have been doing this type of stuff all the time. And you had, was it Peyton Manning, his dad, was very vocal and said, I don't want these teams, don't even talk to my son. You know, he knew what teams he didn't want his son to go to, and he was vocal about that. And I feel like Deion was doing the same thing. He was being a covering, which is what fathers are anointed to do and to be, is be a covering. I think that they didn't like the fact that he's a present Black father, you know, someone that I believe even when he got his divorce that he had custody of his kids. He made sure that he was there to nurture them, to groom them to be intelligent, articulate, you know, intentional. And I think that they really had a problem with that. They have a problem with Black excellence. You got a man that's already a millionaire, so Shador didn't necessarily need the money. He didn't have to be in the, you know, in the first round. It was all about, you know, the work that he's put in. And I just think that they don't like Black excellence. And when they see you in your power, then now they try to put you in your place. I'm not a person, you know, I don't really even agree with the NFL because of what they've done in the past. They always find a way to try to put their foot on someone's neck to say, to still be able to call you a boy. You know, all of it was just outrageous to me.
So, you all know I'm a football junkie, right? And I'm a Deion fan, but I'm a fan of the sport, and I'm a fan of personnel. To comment on what you said about the cap, right? I'll put this thing in perspective for the monetary part of the punishment they gave him, which is what I considered it. The monetary punishment they gave him is Shador Sanders made $6.5 million last year on his NIL deal as a college student.
Wow.
He made $6.5 million in 1 year. To be the 144th pick of the NFL draft, to be picked in the 5th round, over the course of 4 years, the max he can make is $5.6 million.
Interesting.
Yeah, remember I sent you the article about it.
Over 4 years.
Yeah, they said
That's
he
the
should
max.
go back.
That's the max he can make is $5.6 million.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is the punishment. You know, I made a statement on my post, and it got a lot of attention. I said it's like a modern day lynching in broad daylight, and people are like, "Oh, I think that's too harsh." I was like, "Well, look at what a lynching is. A lynching is designed to strike fear in people."
Yeah.
You know, and it's designed to make you scared and say, okay, you see what they did.
Yep.
You better not do that. You know what I mean? And that's why I saw it. That's why I saw it as. I mean, the one thing, and then when I heard people saying, well, maybe he just wasn't talented enough. The kid led the entire nation in passing percentage. The kid was number 2 in the nation in throwing touchdown passes. The kid was 4th in the nation in total yards. This doesn't happen by accident.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so to say he wasn't good enough, I think is absolutely insane and disrespectful to the player. And to me, it's a clear punishment that it's somewhat going towards Shador, because now they're saying, and all these anonymous reports about how bad his interview was, you know? But what they don't see in these anonymous reports is, well, what did he do in those bad interviews. We've heard people in the past who've had so-called bad interviews, and they say, well, he didn't know this, he couldn't articulate this, he couldn't. All they're saying is, oh, he had a bad interview, he came with an entourage, which we know, in their languages, you came with a posse, and so, but he comes with the film crew. He came with the same film crew they've been doing, so that's considered an entourage, So it's clear that to me, they're punishing the son for what they feel like the father's threat is.
Absolutely. And
they have to make sure that we don't let this boy think he can come into our league and man, and command this kind of respect and what have you. Now, people say, oh, he's acting to this. How many people did y'all see NFL players get drafted and come on the field dancing and doing all this other stuff? But they weren't looked at as arrogant or anything like this. How many of them had gold had chains around their necks?
Yep.
How many of them had the flashy suits?
Absolutely.
But it's a problem that Shador does it. He's too flashy. He thinks he's all that. If you grew up as in a house of a multi-millionaire, I would hope that you would act like you a millionaire too. I wouldn't want my son to act poor if he grew up as a millionaire. Why should he? Why should he act like he's subservient to someone else when you grew up a certain kind of way? You should feel like you stand on 10, but he still put in the work to be a good quarterback. And they're punishing him for the, because his dad said what he said. Now, did Deion, it's hard to say this, Deion may have extended himself a little too far in terms of what he said. But only on the premise of I said it, but forgetting who I am and what I look like.
Yeah.
He didn't say it. He didn't extend it too far of being correct. But you can't compare yourself to Archie Manning because you don't look like Archie Manning. You can't compare yourself to Jack Elway because you don't look like Jack Elway. And that's the only difference in this scenario. He extended himself more because, wait a minute, Deion, we got to put you back in your place.
I think he kind of got caught out there like OJ. He forgot he was still black a little bit.
He thought that he did forget, I think, that, yes, they still look at you,
Well, and I think it's, but it's legit though, because you got to realize Deion Sanders has been that guy for so long, and he's been the first to accomplish a lot of things. He's the first superstar cornerback that people looked at in the same light that they did look at a quarterback. Then he went on and played baseball at the same time, and it wasn't a gimmick. He was a legit baseball player, so he was a beast in baseball. The only person that had a smoother transition to him would be Bo Jackson. And so I think that he's led a charmed life, not because he didn't earn it, but because he's just that good. And I think that the old saying, he wrote a check, not that his ass couldn't cash, but his son's ass couldn't cash. I think clearly it was collusion. I don't know if y'all already talked about that, from the standpoint that they just didn't want Deion with that much access to the league. That's what I really think this is all about. Because if you look at how he transformed college football, there's never been a single coach at the second or third, like 5th or 6th years a head coach to get to the prominence that he had. He was speaking, people talked about him more than they did Nick Saban when Nick Saban was still coaching. And I think that offended the establishment. And coupled by the fact that he's unapologetically black, that's what really choked the ass up. And I'm not saying anybody that's not, I don't even want to call anybody's name out because it's like I'm attacking them. But the players I'm talking about that just, everybody likes them, and they transcend without even having to say nothing. Just because it's not white, but they're just more mainstream. He held on to his roots. He's pro-black to a fault. But the biggest thing I think that stands out in all this is that if you look at Shador, look at any of his sons other than the one that whipped that security guard's ass, Shiloh, Deion's kids have never had a hiccup. when you look at Deion, he's never had a hiccup other than that self-inflicted, and he confessed to that because that was his rebirth. So never has there been a black man rode so hard. I mean, you can look at some of the players. They knew Lawrence Taylor was a cokehead. They knew all this negative about a lot of football players, and they weren't attacked the way this young man was attacked. And the reason why I know it's more to do with his dad is because when have they ever not? He was legitimately the second best quarterback. And I think Dart now, that's a matter of choice because I bet a lot. And I like Dart's game. Do I think he's Shador? I think Shador, he won't be on the level of Jaden Daniels because Jaden Daniels is an athlete, a freak athlete too. Shador got none of his daddy's athletic genes, but he got all his dad's brains and his mom's brains. And he's that's another thing. You know how they always talk about black quarterbacks on cerebral, black quarterbacks. That's all Shador is. He had different levels. He transitions on every call. He looks from the boom, boom, and looks off perfect. He does everything perfect, and he throws a nice ball. So he may not have a strongest arm, but Drew Brees doesn't have a strong arm. A lot of the best quarterbacks don't have strong arms. Peyton Manning, believe it or not, doesn't have a cannon for an arm. Brady doesn't have a cannon for an arm. They're more accurate passers. So the knock on him is BS.
Yeah, man, it's total BS. I mean, Shador's passing and all that stuff is great. But here's another little tidbit to this argument, to this conversation, right? Guess who has the most pre-ordered jerseys?
He's Shador, yeah.
I know.
The same guy that you dropped to 144.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good, you about to say something? All right. This is just, I didn't get to the word of collusion at that juncture, but I definitely feel like it's collusion at its highest level. And they can sell all the BS they want to sell about. We weren't.
The owners got together. That's what collusion is. They got together inside. He wasn't going to get drafted.
When I saw Louis Riddick's facial expression when they asked me this question, and then he said it again today, because one of them guys was trying to say maybe he just wasn't the man, and Louis Riddick was like, "Come on," it was. I gave a lot of respect to Louis Riddick. He has a job to do. He's paid by Disney. Paid by ESPN, so he's not going to lose his job.
Of course.
But he made it clear that this is not about the talent of Shador Sanders. Mm-hmm. This is strictly about something else that doesn't have anything to do with the talent of Shador. And I think that goes without saying, and I just applaud him for standing on that. And even Stephen A. said the same thing. It had nothing to do with the talent level. This is all about we're attacking Deion through you. And it's just unfortunate. And I hope the kid, I hate he going to Cleveland. Because let's face facts. He ended up going to the organization that his dad was talking about in the beginning. His dad said, I didn't want my son to go to a certain organization. This happens to be the organization he did not want his son to go to. Yeah. Can anyone name a Cleveland quarterback that has any significance?
Bernie Kosar
that
is the
has
only
any
one.
significance in NFL history.
Bernie Kosar is the only one.
Would know.
That's the only one I
that
can
has
think.
any significance
He's a damn good quarterback.
in NFL
like
history.
Bernie.
He was an okay quarterback. Cleveland doesn't produce quarterbacks. He didn't want his son to go to an organization like this.
Yeah, and then another thing that points out that it was a clear attack. Anything, and I'm not going to name the black quarterback's name, but there is one that's very good, but didn't have a GPA worth shit. And every chance they got when he was drafted, they mentioned his GPA and everything else. Shador has a 3.8 or something like that, or a high GPA, and they didn't even mention that at all. But if it's if it's a negative, so I think the way they pumped it up, it's like they piled on, and I think it's real disrespectful. Some well-known NFL commentators, black, that now that everything's coming out, they're acting like they knew it all along. And okay, then why did you hold off? If you really felt that way, I'm not going to say Vikings wide receiver, and it wasn't Moss, and there's only 2 Viking wide receivers you can remember, and it's like he piled on.
Talking about Chris Carter, y'all.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
And he piles on, and I'm like, dude, it's like it's like we always say, we pile on each other, and it's like, okay, the man's down. Dion has some part in it because I think, and if everybody wants to say it's arrogance, it's not arrogance or love for your son. It's just like if I'm a Fortune 500 guy and I know you, shit, my son got that damn job. He'll be over there working with Lowe next week. And he just had that. I think he knew he moved in those circles, and I think there's a certain number of people that didn't like him. You can just look at the look on people's faces, how uncomfortable when they talk to the Jerry about the Dallas owner, how uncomfortable it was. The really telling thing, and this ain't a knock on him because I love him, was the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. That look he had on his face was almost like, I wanted him, I didn't have shit to do with this, because he had talked him up. And then all of a sudden he's sitting there and the guy says, "Oh, I'll talk." When has anybody ever talked to him?
It's coach, not quarterback. Okay.
Yeah, coach. I mean coach. And nobody talks to him. Nobody talks to him.
Listen. Let me just tell you how. If you saw the draft, and everybody go back and look at it, when they called Shador's name and flashed to the Cleveland Browns,
The faces.
the facial
faces.
the general manager
Every
did
single
this.
one of them. Yeah.
This is how he clapped.
Every single one of them.
This is how he clapped. Then it was obvious we have broken you. And to see Deion Sanders, this would really bother me so bad, was when he finally got drafted, Shador was on the phone. The stress on Deion's face, if you look at it, look at how he's looking. And he's like, "Hey, tell him I want to speak to the gentleman. I want to speak to him. I just want to thank him." They accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. They broke you. Because now Deion wasn't broken in terms of who he is. He was broken to the facts of my son.
Yeah.
He realized,
you guys got to me through my son.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that ate me
That
up.
chopped his ass, and he had to play humble pie.
He had
because
to.
if he went on
that
the
ate me
offensive,
up.
and see the thing about it is now he's got to tap dance a little like anybody would, because now the coach and everybody involved. That boy from Oregon. Nobody even mentioned that kid's name
At all.
I don't even know what is his name.
Dylan Gabriel.
And it's like, what the fuck? And all those other
And you drafted him
quarterbacks
before
that went ahead of him. The only one that legitly, I may have chose. I like Shador's game, but Dart is up there with him. Only thing Dart is, the main thing, and nobody talked about it, the knock on Dart is he will throw in an interception in crucial points of the game. Shador never did that.
I understood why they drafted Dart. Giants have two other starting quarterbacks on their roster. Definitely one for sure, and Russell Wilson. Mm-hmm. They drafted Dart over Shador because we don't have to throw Dart in. We already have a starting quarterback. Mm-hmm. We can allow Dart 2-3 years to get ready. We don't have no pressure with him. But we got our future quarterback. Mm-hmm. They knew you can't bring Shador into a room because there's going to be so much pressure on that next quarterback. You know what I mean? If you brought him to New York and you start losing, they're going to be screaming Shador's name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They know that, so they're not going to put that pressure. But Cleveland, it's a horrible organization anyway.
But it's a blessing in disguise. Look at the quarterbacks they have. And they got upset when Dion mentioned that.
He's going to beat out the quarterback. That's what I'm saying. He's going to be better than them.
Flacco is... He's not what he was that 1 year he was accused. Last year, he intercepted, was inconsistent, had a good game and 3 bad games. Okay, then you look at, Watson. Watson may not even return.
He'll be out this year for sure.
Yeah, he'll definitely this year. He's going to beat out the
Kenny
Oregon.
Pickett. Give me a break.
Exactly. Everybody's just the same knock on him. You had
Dylan
him.
Gabriel. Oh yeah.
Pittsburgh had him, so you know he's not
That's
shit.
why I say he's gonna beat everybody else on the roster.
The only thing, and I think it's gonna be hard for him, and this is my biggest knock on Shador. I'll just go ahead and say it. I won't say it, but I'll pile on a little bit. I think he loves his dad so much, and he's a competitor, so he wants to beat his dad at his own game. And I think it doesn't come across natural when he does it. He doesn't have a natural swag. Like, Shiloh is more Deion's personality. Shador is more of a laid-back guy because I love his podcast, but I don't like him on interviews. Mm-hmm. I don't like him on interviews, but he's a very heady guy, but he doesn't come across like that on interviews. Shiloh and his older son, both of them come across just like Deion like. It doesn't come natural for us to do it. So when he does it, a lot of times he comes across as a little too braggadocious. But Dion has that swag, and he's always done exactly what he says he's done. I think Shador, this is a golden opportunity for him because he can not break away, but step out of your dad's shadow and earn your stripes. Because when he does get that starting job, and this is what I see happen. They're going to give it to Flacco the first 2 or 3 games of the season, but he's going to fuck up like he always does. And then there's going to be that Shador sound. Because even when he was winning with Baltimore, everybody said it. You had the best defense in football, bar none, led by Ray Lewis and Suggs. So you couldn't help but screw it up. You had just to be a Troy Aikman, keep it together quarterback, not a winner.
Well, I just think it's disappointing. But listen, we're going to be breaking here shortly. But before we do, I want to, excuse me, that thing kept bothering me. Tangi, we're going to dig deep into your life and what you got going on. But I just want to, again, she's from Marine as well.
Oh, that's Super Fly. Double dog.
Yeah.
That's right.
So how long were you in the Marines?
8 years.
8 years.
Yes.
And what did you do in the Marines?
So I was 2nd Supply Battalion, so I moved everything from pencils to people. I did logistics. Mass movement is something that I specialized in.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So you got out of the Marines what year?
2011.
And then what direction did you go from that point?
And after that, I went to school. I went to Georgia State and tried to get into the nursing program, did not get in. So I transferred those credits to film school, and I graduated from film school. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
I did transportation in the Army. You know, we moved the ammunition stuff, but
nice.
But I'm familiar with that field tremendously. How much time we got for you for 5 hours? Go ahead.
So with the pie.
This guy.
Like, let's focus.
So
I wanted to ask, since we all agree that it was a conspiracy. What are the? It's not a. What is the recourse, or is there going to be any recourse with the fans?
I think there is.
I thought you said it was a conspiracy, then keeping the pie from you. Okay, go ahead.
What you think it is? Go ahead.
You know what I think? I think it needs to be purposeful for the fans to specifically support Shador, like on their own. Like, we're not buying anything through NFL. We're buying specifically off Shador's website. We're supporting him. We're letting it be known that the NFL, you got this one. You may think you won, but we really are supporting him. We really got his back. We're really showing as a community that this was unacceptable. Clearly, everyone's upset about this. So monetarily, we can respond in a way that affects them still.
I like that. And there's actually a thing out there now to do.
I'm not boycotting the Eagles. I'm sorry.
With the jersey, they're talking about now. They're trying to get it where, because his is the most requested one, but they're trying to get it where they can just get the money
100%.
100% just to support him, and not through the NFL.
Yeah, because he took a pay cut like a mofo.
Oh man, and again,
just think about it. They even put it out there, $30 million. He's lost $30 million. It's almost like you saw the pile-on happening, and the only one Mel Kiper Jr. called, he didn't stop. And it was like they were getting on him about, why are you so behind him? Why are you so behind him? Because he was telling the truth. When everybody else is like, loved him to death, and all of a sudden, oh, no, it was overrated. That's not who he was. He was that dude.
No, there's no question. There's no question he was that guy. And it's just so unfortunate, And again, Shador's he'll be who he's going to be in the NFL. But they definitely won round one.
Yeah, buddy.
The NFL, like I said, it bugged me out how they.
He didn't answer the bell on round 2. He was knocked out in the first round. Yeah, that was nice.
They're not gonna feel sorry for him. Yeah, he's come from well. Yeah, Dion, and that's again. I don't
he
see,
made
I don't,
money in college.
I don't
so
see why that's
like,
a problem. Why that bothers people so much when the white folks do it. It's okay to come from money, but why it bothers them when black? Why does it bother people so much that he's a smart kid? I just
look at Manziel. Nobody said anything about Manziel, and everything that came out on Manziel, they knew beforehand, and they still drafted him.
Who was more arrogant?
And the
Who was more arrogant coming out? Baker Mayfield.
Remember Manziel doing this to the crowd?
You know what I mean? Baker Mayfield by far.
Not
and he
even
was
close.
still the number 1 draft pick. And he was arrogant as
And
all
nobody
outdoors.
talked about any of it.
Come on,
now,
man.
and see, the thing about it is, everybody knew the dirt about Manziel, and nobody talked about it. Everybody knew everything that happened with
'Cause he
Manziel.
came
They
from
knew
wealth.
about it. Yeah, and
That's
everybody
why
knew
they
about it.
covered everything up.
And
He
they
came
just
from
didn't.
wealth.
But the fact that they didn't mention it, and they didn't have any dirt on Sador, but until they started nitpicking the dumb stuff.
They trying
but-
to mess with that man's legacy, with Dion's legacy.
That's what they're trying. They trying to break him. You know, somebody posted when I said the lynch and said it's buck breaking because that's what they, you know,
Oh, break the buck.
they're trying to break him, and they did it. They got him. They got Dion. Like I
Well,
said.
Dion's gonna regroup. I think
Nah,
Dion had to take it on the
He
chin.
was just scared for his son. That's
Yeah,
all it was.
Exactly.
That was all it
Because,
was.
he want to say something, but he said, I can't hurt him anymore because if they're petty enough to get together and do what they did, let him drop like that, then that's basically, like some of the franchises, okay, cool. But some of the ones, like, look at Pittsburgh Steelers, those your boys. But that was some dumb shit they did.
I am not going.
There's like,
It's in the camera.
they don't have a
My
quarterback.
protest this year is I'm not going to any Steelers games this year.
Oh, shit. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to go to Eagles games.
I'm not.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
going. They disappointed me.
But I
that
won't wear my
much.
Eagles gear when I go.
I'm not going. That's
Go
my
ahead and
protest.
the league out.
So
I
anyway,
ain't
before we
gonna
go to
tell
break,
that lie.
man, number 1 fan
I'm
sent
not
a
gonna
cherry
tell
pie.
that lie.
She sent a cherry pie for the podcast.
Where the slices already?
I had to make the ultimate sacrifice to try it
And taste it first.
prior to bringing it.
100%.
What kind of a friend
100%.
would I have been?
Well, that ain't a slice. You took half.
No, somebody. I got 1 slice, but we'll dig into that later. Thank you, number 1 fan.
No, not we. The rest of us. You had your slice. Thank you, number 1 fan, again. I hope it's as good as the pineapple. I know it's going to be.
We'll
as
be
good
right
as
back, man. Talk more with Tangi Daniel. The World Cup on its way to Atlanta, man. We're gonna learn more about it. Classic Konversation with JT and Lo.
And that's a car.
We'll be right back.
JD didn't pick up that subject.
The first issue, the gun is not even supposed to be out. Period.
Issue number 1.
Because that's already a charge. You're supposed to have those things locked up, especially if you have children around. So she was just wrong on so many levels. She need her ass whooped because that's ridiculous.
The repercussions of it could be, catastrophic. I mean, you could lose it. You could lose your career. You can lose anything over stuff like this. But
Man, you could lose your life over some of the
That
stuff
part.
people be doing, man. Folks be doing all that bluffing people and doing that stuff in the stores, throwing stuff on them, covering their heads up, acting like staring at them the wrong way, coming down the escalator. Acting like they're gonna do things. There's just so many things that people do on online for likes, man. It's just
I saw the one
it's
with a guy.
insane, man.
They're just addicted to social media. They're addicted to attention, right? Because nobody wants to be forgotten. So.
Ready to find a studio that matches your podcast vision? Located inside Uptown Comedy Corner, our studio just 5 minutes from Atlanta's airport has everything you need. From high-quality equipment to multi-camera setups for live streaming, we've got it all. With 15 plus years of experience, our team ensures smooth sessions with editing and post-production services at an additional cost. Plus, our competitive pricing make it easy for creators of all levels. Contact us at 404-500-1605.
How you doing?
Hilarious.
How are you doing?
It's at least Hey yo, we back, man. Classic Konversation with JT and Lo.
And that's a call.
And as you said earlier, man, JT is out there living the dream, man, on a movie set. And he made it out the shower. Too funny. As you saw in between segment one, Ashley Cop arrived on time as usual. And went right to the pie.
I was helping outside.
Oh, there we go. I told you we are gonna say the excuse, let him tell itself. Of course, you know we got Jeze over there to the right and Miss Tangi Daniel to my left. So, Miss Tangi, Global Sports Advisor, Marine Corps veteran, firearms instructor.
That's me.
Woo-wee. I know, right? So,
Bet your boyfriend don't cheat.
What'd you say?
I said, bet your boyfriend don't cheat.
Listen, if I had one, he wouldn't. But I'm definitely auditioning right now. I'm opening it up.
Hey, all right.
speak on it.
Right. Out there.
Yeah, look.
That's right.
Too hilarious. And listen, so listen, Tangi, this is all about you right now. Tell us what the title Global Sports Director, tell us exactly what that entails.
Right. So I'm Global Sports and World Cup lead for Atlanta Black Chambers. And what that means is we're not just focused on World Cup, but that's what's coming up next. That's why we're focused our attention on that. But large-scale games in itself, Atlanta in itself is a $10 billion sports industry on its own. And so when you think about that globally, and think about how international football or soccer is the largest game around the world, you start to think of the money that goes into that. So we're specifically focused on sports business, sports tourism, and making sure that we understand the infrastructure behind it. That can be real estate, whether it's residential or commercial. That can be building these training facilities for these children. A $50 million training facility was built in Fayetteville.
Yeah, that's
we
USA
are
Soccer
not
now.
part
Yeah.
of those things, those conversations, and I think that's egregious. So that's what we're focused on.
Wow. Agreed. That's what she said. So now, with that being said, with the World Cup coming into town, and it's something prior to the World Cup, which I wasn't aware of until I just had to be on a phone call the other day. With, I felt kind of special to be on.
Not a stakeholder call, like it was a private invite only.
Yeah.
That's right.
felt kind of good about that.
That's right.
But there's more. It's stuff coming prior to the World Cup.
Absolutely. So there is the Club World Cup, which is 32 of the best clubs around the world. They're competing for a $1 billion prize pot. So when you think of that and you think of, the fans that support those teams, the United States is the sole host of the Club World Cup. So the bulk of the money will come to the U.S. So us not knowing about it, us not being prepared for it, is going to make us miss out on the opportunity to even build for the World Cup that's happening next year. So Atlanta is hosting 6 matches this year. A match is equivalent to a game. So we're hosting 6 matches. Each match is equivalent to a Super Bowl. So the money, just the logistics around a Super Bowl, there's 3 Super Bowls in 1 week in June of 2025. That's like tomorrow. So, there are a lot of businesses that don't know about this. They don't have their inventory in place. They haven't increased their staffing, security. There's so many things that go into that they just aren't aware of. So that's what we're screaming from the rooftops.
So as you're screaming it, right? Who are you screaming it to? And when they hear your screams, what is it they need to do?
So specifically, we're talking to businesses because we are looking to the city of Atlanta for guidance. We're looking to FIFA for guidance, and currently there is none. And I'll just put that very nicely in that perspective. But just making sure that we use all of our networks to collab, whether it's media, whether it is, town hall meetings, forums, whatever we can do to make sure that we tell people, even if you got 20 extra customers, that's more money than you would have gotten last month or the month prior, than not knowing that the World Cup was coming at all. So we're really just talking to anyone that wants to listen. We're doing what we can with our, our networks, our budget, our everything like that. But just letting anyone that wants to know, who's concerned about their business, about their future, about their community, about their legacy, those are the people we're trying to talk to.
Gotcha. Yeah, question?
What was you said? There's a facility being built in Fayetteville.
Fayetteville,
Yeah, USA
correct.
Soccer.
Okay, nice.
Yes, and again, conversations that we're not part of, but that facility is around Triller Studio. And so
I was
when you think of
wondering.
film and
Okay.
soccer, that's a
Yes.
whole LA burnt down. So there's an opportunity there for our creators, our artists to really take advantage of this if they just know about it.
So how do they get to know about it though? Because I didn't know anything about it, And we talking about June. We talking
Yeah.
about stuff coming, like you said, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So number one, why don't they know about it, and how do they get involved at this point? Is it is it still time for opportunity?
Absolutely. So first of all, FIFA is really laxed when it comes to a lot of rules. We're waiting on their guidance, and they haven't come down with what they're doing. They're such a big organization, big machine. And the fact that they have so many other tournaments prior to that, like May 1st starts World Beach Cup in Seychelles, like they got so many different tournaments going on that I just think that they are not recognizing the limitations that they've placed on the host cities of not giving them the amount of information that they should to prepare businesses, especially around the stadiums. And so there are amazing opportunities, especially if you're in hospitality, if you're in retail, transportation. People got to get somewhere to go somewhere. There is a 3-mile perimeter around Mercedes-Benz Stadium because that's where everything is happening. So if you're within that sector, you're expecting at least 2 million people to come because we're hosting a semifinal. We have really big matches here in the city that people are coming to enjoy. And even if they don't make it to the game, they're still coming because they want to be a part of it.
come.
They're coming.
Yeah, you
So
gonna get some fun.
there are amazing opportunities, even if you just know about it, or if you hear about it, or if you want to prepare for it. There is still time.
Gotcha. So what is a life like for you right now in terms of with all this going on? How does a day of Tangi Daniel go on right now with all this stuff?
Oh, it's awful. I'm in meetings all day, every day. And I say it's awful because my life was totally different even a few months ago. I had moved to Bali, and I enjoyed my life. I was just reading a book.
You said you moved
I did.
to Bali?
I did, and
Wow.
I loved every minute of it. I originally went to Thailand, then I went to Bali. I was in Singapore for a little while, just touring Southeast Asia and just having a great time there. And I ended up getting sun poisoning. So I burnt my face and my neck off, and that's why I'm back. So now it's just like
right?
I'm in meetings every day. I'm like, how did this happen? Like I was literally by a pool recently. So, but you know what? This is my purpose. This is my legacy. I knew if I didn't say it wasn't gonna get done. Or we keep letting time pass and we keep missing out on opportunities. I'm so tired of us missing out on opportunities. I remember we're from Atlanta, so we could have had a brick in Centennial Olympic Park. We could have, done something, but we didn't. We just didn't know what to do. So there's no excuse for us not to be prepared this time, us not to solidify our legacies, because this is the next reiteration of Atlanta. This is Atlanta 2.0. The Olympics was 30 years ago, and Centennial Olympic Park is still standing to this day. What are we going to do that's going to be part of our legacy once it leaves? That's what I'm teaching.
Well, I mean, I know you can't say names, but is it somewhat disappointing the way the black 10% in Atlanta, the ones, the ones with the money, how they're aware of everything, but it didn't trickle down. Because a lot of the information, because I knew about U.S. Soccer, Fayetteville, and some of the meetings. Those meetings go out. They were had 5, 6, 8 years ago, and that word never got out to us. But it got out because you could see the build up in certain clubs. Certain clubs were bought out, at least for that time before the actual thing dropped. So, like, if you have a 30,000 square foot building, they went ahead and put them under lease, and then they dropped the notice. So the people in the know made the money.
Absolutely. You know what? I cry often, and it's not even trying to be funny, but it's almost like I tell people it's like the Wizard of Oz. Like the veil has been pulled back. I thought we were I'm from here, so I don't know what's happening. Like, this is not how we normally typically do things. We share, we're open, we're family, we're communal. But this has been a situation where it's just like, oh, wow, like it really is every man for themselves in situations. And so that's not how I'm leading. That's not how I was raised. That's not how I would like things to proceed. So I'm just doing my part. But it is very disappointing for some people to have the information and get the opportunities while others don't. And we bidded on the World Cup in 2018. So to come in 2025 and say, what are the opportunities? It's like coming to a restaurant at 11:50 and they close at midnight. And you're like, I want an appetizer and I want dessert and the kitchen's closed. Like, there's nothing left.
And they sold out of cheesecake.
Yep. Exactly.
Good deal. So, go ahead. No? Oh, okay. So as you're gearing up for these World Cup events, like what do you have to do from your office, to get ready for this?
Right. So again, we're doing community forums. We're making sure that we educate our stakeholders. We believe from educating from the top. So making sure that our leaders and people in the community who are stakeholders who have businesses, especially brick and mortars, know about the opportunities and how to bring traffic their way, how to market, how to advertise, how to change their pricing, how to change their menu, how to increase their staffing if needed, just telling them things like that. But what we're doing is a global sports tech and innovation summit. We believe that the countries that are coming here, England, Portugal, and United Arab Emirates, they're coming this year that we know of. We want to be able to offer them opportunities, especially to meet the businesses that we represent within the chamber. We want to make sure that they know that this is a tech hub and we have the tech people that they can support, invest in, and the opportunities are here. And, we believe that if people invest here, they'll stay here, they'll build here, they'll come back here, and that's ultimately what it's about.
Yeah, that's facts. The name of the organization again is what is it?
Atlanta Black Chambers.
Atlanta Black Chambers. Now, you guys are located. Where's the office located?
It's off Northside Drive.
Okay.
Rice, Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs.
So do you all work with the other chambers, or do you all kind of stand apart, or how does that work? Because it's good.
Yes, I mean, politically, yes. I mean, I really wish there was more open communication, especially since we're all fighting for the same cause, allegedly. But there is silos. There's different groups that are doing different things that people don't know about. We're doing things, we're just trying to be open and transparent and offer what we want to receive. That's what we're trying to do. So we have no problem partnering up with other chambers if the opportunity presents itself.
Okay. So now, if you're looking at somebody who's trying to get some type of business, functioning within the World Cup or within the semifinal games, right? Would they come to your office? Like, how would they proceed to try to figure out what they qualify for? I don't know if that's the right way of putting it or what.
So it depends on what your business is, right? So first, if you want to get in with FIFA, there's an application. The organization is called BAM, BAAM, and they're asking for expressions of interest. They're the ones that are contracted with FIFA, and they're saying, okay, do you offer this, and it? And it's like a list of maybe 30 plus things, whether it's construction, lighting, concrete barriers, different things like that. If you have accommodations, lodging, long-term stay, short-term stay, these are type of things that they're asking for now. So if you qualify, I send everybody to FIFA. There's no gatekeeping here. There's no originally we were going to create our own application so we can, get the data, because the data is the most important thing, honestly. But at this short time frame, there's just no time. So just go straight to FIFA, look up the BAM application. They're still accepting them. And if you qualify, because there are people that have been accepted and they have a contract with FIFA now. They're an official vendor for FIFA. You can't get no bigger than that, you know? So that's what I believe our city officials, our elected officials, the people in charge should have been telling us about. And that would have made, more people aware.
Well, we'll see what happens with that is, and with the city of Atlanta, they'll have those contracts, and you'll have somebody say, Ben, who doesn't even own what he puts up, and then all he does is contract it out to you in Texas, and your team comes in and does it. That's how the money's passed around Atlanta, so they'd never come back and check that out. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. Those doors are closed in 2018, the summer of 2018, 2019. A lot of that stuff was divvied up amongst the people. It's just like the plan for the Beltline. All those houses, if nobody ever takes the time to look at it, the paper ignores it, but all that stuff was bought long before the Beltline was even supposed to come out. And so that's how they keep us behind the 8 ball. The things that you're talking about, SWAT command and everything, those security plans were done.
Yeah, they were.
And then so everybody that knew. So that's why they might approach you at your club and say, hey man, I got something going on in June 2025. Can I rent out your club for $10,000 a night? And you're like, yeah, hell yeah. And see, that's how they get people. And the tech stuff, people can take up that contract that know absolutely nothing about it, because once you get that FIFA contract, all you do is subcontract it out to somebody that does. But they're not going to go back and look at the connections of the people that got those contracts. That's corruption.
What he said.
So I had a question
I
from.
know you can't agree, but just nod your head.
Question from our number one fan. She said, "Why did she move to Bali, and how did she get into her now purpose?"
Ooh, how did I move to Bali?
She said, "Why did you move to Bali, and how did you get into your now?"
That was my
purpose?
next question. I'm
You
on
know
fan.
what? I was in search for a better quality of life. I was literally tired of being here, and my fight or flight system was always activated, my nervous system always in knots. I'm trying to figure out, why I'm unhappy here. I'm waiting on people to move with me, and they can't move, or they got other responsibilities. And then finally I was just like, I'm leaving tomorrow. Like, wow. I am no longer waiting at all.
Bali was a nice choice,
and
too.
Yes, it was the best choice. When I tell you, I recommend everyone sees Bali with their own 2 eyes. It is one of those exceptional countries. The food, the people, the air, the water. I mean, literally everything that's poisoned here is not there.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I was gonna ask you, how did you enjoy the different energy? When you go to Indonesia, and you said you went to Thailand.
I remember thinking at some point in time, like, I'm supposed to be doing something. Like, there's no way I'm supposed to be just laying here, or I'm supposed to be just reading this book on a Tuesday. I really had to program my mind, like, it's okay to exist. It's okay to not hustle. It's okay to just enjoy life as is. And that's what those opportunities afforded me living over there for even just that short amount of time. And when I say the people, the energy, it really is different. It's very communal there. It's family. Like, people treat you like they've known you forever. You come home to a place that you're renting with the local, and they got food on the table. They like, you want to eat? Yes, I do. I do want to eat. I'm hungry. Yes. So it just is a different vibe, and I just feel like it's what we deserve as a people. Mm-hmm. We deserve to be somewhere where we can just be, where we're not fighting, where we're not looking for validation from a major organization, where we're not competing, we're not, upset, we're not being killed, we're not being murdered. Like, these are things that should just be. And that's what that afforded me when I went.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had the same experience, and that was the same reason why I was kind of traveling, just because of everything you said, the food, and the violence.
Yeah.
You know, I've been a teacher, and I've had. I'm a teacher, and the last school that I worked in, we had doors for if there was a shooter. They were like big garage doors, and I think we've just gotten so used to all the violence and the terrible food and the health care. You know, I was like I said, I was like you one day. I was just like crying my eyes out when I realized the stuff that we've just been accepting that we don't have to accept, right? Because they try to make it like everywhere else is jacked up, but like you said, you've been to all those countries. And
No, we're really the worst. We're really, and that's a facade that
Yes.
we have here. Like we're the greatest, and I think COVID really showed me that. It's just like how we treated everything, how we were unprepared, how we are. Who's the third world country here? Like that's kind of like where I was, headed and thinking. I'm just like there are opportunities around the world that we should experience, that we should check out. There are wonders of the world. Like I remember this waterfall that I went to. I was like, wow, had I not left America, I never would have saw this. Like those are the type of things that I want all of us to experience.
So what about the question about how did you come into your purpose?
You know what? Because I recognize that we missed out on the Olympics, the 96 Olympics, and I was here, and I recognize we don't really even have any economic impact data from that. If you remember, Bowen Homes and all of those other projects were closed down or shut down because of the Olympics and all the activity. Where were those people displaced? Like, where
They
are
were
they?
supposed to be relocated to mixed income housing.
Were they
That didn't happen.
compensated? Like what happened to those people? This was like hundreds of
Clayton
people.
County felt it.
Yep.
And
Cobb County.
when you relocate these people, are you compensating them? And then what happens to them afterwards? What
happened to the
there's
neighborhoods?
There's so much data we don't know and don't have, and I think that's what my purpose is. It's like I'm scared. I'm like, oh, absolutely not this time.
Gotcha.
Not this time. So that's where my fight and purpose comes from.
So what advice do you have for the next generation of women looking to break into global sports leadership?
There's so many opportunities, honestly, whether it is in Africa, because they are the youngest demographic on the planet, right? That country is gonna grow. I think the average citizen is like maybe 18 or something like that over in Africa. So the opportunities to invest in other countries, like you'll be 1/42nd of an owner here in the United States, but you can be a full out owner in other countries. So even thinking that far, but even being an agent, making sure that these players get compensated correctly and the way that they're supposed to and get treated with the respect that they should, because they're actually doing you a favor by lending their talents to you. That's how we really should look at it. What is the game without a Shador? What is the game without a Dion or all these players? And so the opportunities, but even still, even if you don't do anything with the players, real estate around these places, a $1 billion bid was put in for Hampton, Georgia, for Atlanta Motor Speedway. They're building a casino out there. Buying real estate around that area, being a landlord or being over there offering transportation services. There are so many opportunities in sports now, and there's no barrier to it. Like I was in the cannabis industry, I'm in the firearms industry. There is a barrier to that. I can only do those things within the compounds or confines of the United States. But sports, I can go anywhere with sports. So that's how I want them to look at it.
Gotcha. Very true. So being a female and a black female, what challenges did you face in this industry?
So far, none. People answer my calls because I got the
heard that.
information that they need. But, I've been in all male-dominated fields. Every single field, whether it's Marine Corps or cannabis or firearms, they're all white male-dominated. So I feel very comfortable in those spaces. And I've learned over time, you got to teach white people how to treat you. And you got to look them in their face and say, look, this is how this is going to go. This is how we will proceed if you want to proceed with me. And so, those lessons that I've learned over the years has shaped me into the woman that I am now.
That's absolutely phenomenal. Hey, it's Miss Tangi Daniel, y'all. Y'all heard that. I like it. I like it a lot. So listen, we're gonna jump into this top 5. With a little bit, but because it's kind of it's not a very easy top 5. So so when I saw it, I was like, well, but just give me one or two, quickly, just. When you look at something like a Shador Sanders, Deion Sanders, what I call a public lynching, so your top 5, what? Give me another example of a modern day public lynching that we've witnessed in our time.
I got a few.
All right.
Let's see. You can go with Bill Cosby.
Absolutely.
Because he had no issues until he tried to buy NBC.
That's right.
You can look at crazy dude we talked about him last week. Kanye West. That was a public lynching. Not like his. He came out strong on some topics. There's certain topics that can't be broached in America, and he did, and it cost him everything. Let's see. Through history, I'd say Martin Luther King. Malcolm X, those are lynchings because they dug up. I can't wait to get access to the Martin Luther King files, and I would say Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis was lynching because I was actually privy to what went on in that investigation. Atlanta. New Atlanta, I'm not going to say his name, but the individual they were getting ready to interrogate him, and he walked in a room and leaned forward. Ray Lewis was getting ready. We would know Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis could co-sign on this. He does watch this. We wouldn't even know him. He would have had to plead to felony tampering with evidence, and he would have been drafted. But the person went in and said, "What's your nickname?" All y'all got nicknames, don't you? And at that point, he, being a black man, was like shut down and got an attorney, and the rest is history. All pro, all world. So, that's my last one.
All right, Jose.
I need more time.
I need more time. That's a very good one.
Mike Vick.
The one I talked about
That was one of
earlier.
mine.
Mike Vick is one that I thought of.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, that was a straight up lynching.
I just, who else? I don't know if I got 5, but
It's all right.
I don't know about P. Diddy now. Is that
Hey,
one?
thanks, sis. Thanks.
Is that one? It might be. Super. I mean, well, then you can put R. Kelly in there. Then you can put, there's several.
No, ma'am.
I mean, if you say that, I think all of them, I think is, but modern day lynching, I think is, for me, the Mike Vick situation really stood out to me because I just don't think anyone else would have been treated the way he was treated for what we grew up doing. Like, I didn't even think that was an issue. I honestly didn't think that was illegal. I didn't know about PETA at the time. I mean, there was just so many things that I didn't know until, what happened to him. So I think I was trying to think of a woman that happened to.
Monique?
Monique is a great example.
They tried to.
I have always stood by Monique. I know good. I just pick up on energy very well. I knew she never lied. I knew they treated her exactly how she said. And the fact that she was vocal enough to speak her mind and say this, and I don't want to move forward with this because I was treated like this, and there is no obligation because I have no contract. The fact that she was still blackballed let me know that, it's a tough world out here.
But we didn't stand behind her. That's why I was saying.
Collectively, we did not, and we normally don't stand behind Muhammad Ali. We normally don't stand behind our martyrs that put themselves on
after
the
they're
line.
dead.
And that's why we don't have a lot of them.
Right, I totally agree.
That point, that's a very good point.
I did say I had George Floyd and Rodney King on my list, but I was trying to find more.
Okay.
And I was thinking, what was the 5 boys that were Central Park 5?
Central Park 5.
Yeah.
That was a public lynching for sure.
That was.
For sure. Okay. I didn't hear you. Oh, Jonathan Majors? Yeah, Jonathan Majors. That's
No, he
they named all the ones I had.
He got to throw his hat in the ring on that one.
Let's see
Jonathan
here.
Majors.
I got I think we don't talk about this. Got Michael Jackson, Colin Kaepernick. Top Vic got naming Caitlyn Jenner Woman of the Year. That was a slap in the face. Every woman in the world that went through menstrual cycles, childbirth, secondhand citizen, depending on when you was born. All right.
That's a good one.
That was a slap in the face.
That was a good one.
Number one got Bill Cosby,
Serena.
Kaepernick, good one. Nat Turner, Al Green, Adam Clayton Powell. Millennial got Chris Brown, Michael Jackson, Monique, Jonathan Majors. Agreement on Bruce Jenner. Just agreement on Bruce Jenner. Didn't name Caitlyn, but Bruce.
Not Bruce.
Is it Bruce? Thing we don't talk about got O.J. Simpson. My mom got T.D. Jake.
T.D. Jakes. Come on now.
Jamal Bryant, Monique.
Jamal Bryant. Y'all need to stop.
I'm not commenting on some of these.
Emmett Till, General C.Q. Brown, Chairman of Joint Chiefs, Colin Kaepernick, Millennial threw in Drake.
Y'all play too much. Because y'all play too much.
And I got one
Not
more.
Drizzy.
I got one more. Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh,
What are y'all
The way they got upset, got upset with Megan for simply putting on a gig at the Democratic convention, and that was just
No,
totally
that was
wrong.
foolishness.
That was very
That was
artistic.
foolishness. But the way they treated her when she was shot was unacceptable.
Right.
Now I'll
Now, that's
take
the
that
part.
because we like whatever the case was, and I stood by her that from the beginning. I don't care what the reasoning is. You should never put out a firearm because that's my profession. You never take it to guns unless you taking it to guns. And to even play like that, for her to get hurt like that, for us not to have her back in any type of situation. I don't care what the reason was.
I had her back all the way.
She was shot.
I mean, the biggest one I have at this point is that hadn't been said. I guess would be like a Chris Rock, the Will Smith. Yeah, I mean, y'all named all the ones I was gonna name, so I'm just throwing them out here now. Cause I had Michael Jackson, of course. I had Prince was a good one. She said Serena. Mike Tyson. He did get lynched. He did get lynched. Oh, I know one we didn't say. The biggest lynching going on right now. Shannon Sharp.
I mean, is that a lynching though? Like, is that self-inflicted lynchings? Does that count?
It does.
Well, a lot of the ones people name are self-inflicted.
Thank you, TNG.
Okay.
Okay.
Look, he paid his lyncher.
Cat Williams told his it's crazy that man said you mess with you gonna mess around and get destroyed in 2 weekends, and it's been 2 weekends.
Lost it all. Looking crazy.
It's crazy how that happened.
That must have been some good people.
It was 19. It was not. It was not. It wasn't.
Now let the record show that apparently they didn't have any sexual activity till she turned 20. So she wasn't no longer a teenager. Because what's killing me though is how people keep saying mess with a teenager. You know what I mean? As if she was
14. Because it sounds worse than it is. Like you wanted
the word
to make
usage is horrible.
it more salacious. But if you was not in that situation for them to even write an article about you, we wouldn't even have nothing to say. You're an adult. And you can be with other consensual adults. No one has to saying that. But when you're with a 19-year-old.
But she is a consensual adult.
Okay, it doesn't look good. It's ethics, it's Disney.
Oh,
It don't look good. It don't look good. So you done lost $100 million over 19-year-old, okay. If that works for you, that works for you.
I was just saying in terms of consensual part. That was a big conversation. Is she's still a consensual adult based on the law?
I didn't even want to get in this, but I'm gonna have to say something. It's like
We supposed to wrap it up.
1 minute. Oh, it's time to wrap it up. Okay, all right. I'll let it go, boy.
What did Frank say? Did you see Shannon doing the electric slide? He should have just got it just for that alone. She was in his own. Belichick, 73, and his girlfriend, 24. Yeah, they let that go.
Yeah,
That's okay. 73 and 24, apparently, that's okay. It's confusing to me, but I don't want women to hate me, but I don't think it's as taboo as we're making it. I mean,
it's not at all.
now, if you had somebody like a Woody Allen who married the girl he adopted,
Then
he adopted
wasn't
a
the
child.
something?
Hey,
Yeah.
put out the
Adopted
list
her,
to
and
Epstein's
they married
Island.
her.
They're talking about that. Put out the
He
Epstein
raised his
license
wife,
list.
literally. Yeah, I mean, so I just think it could be a lot worse what Shannon did. You know what I mean? Yeah, it doesn't sound good because it said teenager,
don't
but she was
sound
19. It was consensual, but she was.
Well, she's got OnlyFans.
That's a public lynching for sure.
It wasn't like he
That is
got
not
out
a
for
public
school
lynch.
bus.
That's not a
It's
public
It's not a
lynching.
public lynching. That's not.
That is.
He chose that.
He did.
He
These are
literally
choices.
talked about
Choices have
women his
consequences.
Kobe
age.
Bryant, good one, huh?
He literally said that the women his age wasn't good enough, and that the young women were coming for them, when really they coming for his pocket.
There's no
So now, that
56-year-old.
aged well.
There are no. I'm just sorry, ladies. There's no 56-year-old multi-millionaire that's looking for another 56-year-old.
No worries.
It's just not. It's just.
We'll
it's just
get
not
you,
reality.
Get
Y'all
you
gotta-
a 19-year-old and see what happens.
Right, that's my point.
Let's just go.
Exactly.
Go ahead on, Shannon.
That needed a bump, boy. Terry swung on that one, boy. That was good. I mean, he had to go 19, but I'm just saying. She said get somebody old age. I'm like, come on, man. He's not looking for. But again, Bill Belichick got him a 24-year-old, and they thought it was cute him holding up with his legs, and everybody thought that was cute.
Woody Allen, Elvis Presley.
Yeah, they was weirdos too.
All right, she was and is not a child. She is on OnlyFans. Yep. But it's okay when watch on OnlyFans. Just don't take her home, Shannon. Yeah. All right. Anyway, we gotta go, man. Listen, real quick, Miss Tangi Daniel, want to say thank you very much for your presence today. Very good information. Congratulations.
Thank you.
On all that you're doing,
Thank
and the
you.
fact that you're trying to give back to us is absolutely phenomenal, and we appreciate it. And we're gonna get everything that we can from your mind, as we continue this journey, and hopefully you can, continue to enlighten us. Anywhere that you want people to follow you on, any platforms, anything of that nature?
Absolutely. I'm really active on LinkedIn, on YouTube, Instagram. I am Tangy D, TANGYD as in Delta.
All right. Did you say anything?
No, I'm just my handles are Jose Sunray on everything.
MJ, you gonna have to know it. Will don't know what to
No,
do.
he's not up there. He didn't put it up there, so I'm not
Yeah,
gonna put nothing up. Ask a cop, MJ. On everything.
On everything. Hey man, uptowncomedy.net. Y'all come check us out this weekend. We got Sean Larkin's headline. It's gonna be a dope weekend. Again, Miss Tangi Daniel. Frank said, "Take me to Bali with her." That's sort of like a following. Shouldn't get that girl the time of day. You're right, but most 56-year-old non-millionaires don't want another 56-year-old. That's true, Kiki.
That's messed up.
But true story. But Tangi, thank you again for coming.
Thank you for
Thank you for
having
the
me.
information. And we're going to continue to progress with this. We're going to continue to let people know. And as hopefully we get in on some of this, on some of this
shmoney.
we'll let y'all know how. Because trust and believe, we're going to be working on it.
Right.
Hey, listen. Great episode, man. JT, congratulations. Keep doing your thing, man. Classic Conversation with JTLO.
And that's a cop.
And we're out of here, you dig?
Not on the job training. It still say live though.
He's not our normal.
It's just, you go ahead.
Wayne out here tonight.
You ain't got to worry about it.